I am Daniel Goose, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He is the author of several books, no other than Mr. Andy Charles. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Andy, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Okay, thank you, first of all, Daniel, for inviting me to be part of your podcast. And I'm really thankful for the fact that you have chosen me. My basic history is really simple. I've been writing for the past 30 years as an author. I am also a three-time podcast host, a life and development coach, and a minister of the gospel. But I love the opportunity to really express myself in terms of the desire that I have to make an enduring impact upon the world through writing. And it is very engaging when people can sit and feel what we put out there from our heart to them with regards to self empowerment, limiting beliefs, how they can overcome those, and how they can bounce back and bring their dreams to reality, having faith over fear.
Mr. Andy, thank you so much for sharing your time to the world. And salute you. So, what is the primary role of life and development coach?
Yes. Okay, so personally, when I started this professionally, it was about 5 years ago, and it was something that I had experienced that was causing me to lose step with reality. And I recognized that I needed to make some paradigm shifts and some changes in my life. And when I looked at what was needed, what was missing, as a matter of fact, I realized that I needed a mentor. I needed somebody to help me find the solutions that were somewhere hidden within, but I had no ability, no knowledge as to how to do that. So I decided to read up, research, study tapes, and get certified. So I am certified and accredited internationally as a life and development coach. What we do is basically we get people into a room, a scenario where they feel comfortable and safe. We ask them the powerful questions, and then we give them the opportunity to relate to their story and decide which one they want to choose with regards to going forward. In doing this, we help them to discover their inner strengths and how to make decisions that would be in their best interest, how to overcome limiting beliefs, fears, doubts, intimidations, and to recognize that all the things that they need with regards to choices, strength, and the decision making process, it lies within. We just hold their hands and lead them to the part where they can choose which one is necessary for the specific challenge that they are having, and then make a step to go forward and change their lives.
Change your life, people. So, how does life coaching differ from therapy or counseling?
Okay, great. I love that question, Daniel. A counselor is someone who basically gives advice on how one should approach a situation, what they should do or should not do with regards to a challenge that they may have. And a therapist is one who provides some sort of recovery in terms of it may be medical, it may be physical, it may be emotional, it may be physiological, it may be spiritual. As a life coach, I do not advise anybody. Coaches do not advise anybody. We do not tell people what to do and how to do it. Rather, we help them discover within themselves the ability to rise to the occasion, make the right choices, and they themselves find their true stories by the power questions that we give onto them and the opportunity for them to dig deep. It's hard work because they have to now confront the reality of what they're going through. and decide from what they discover now about themselves, which they did not know before, how they're going to use their newfound tools and strength to go forward and to address the challenges that they are currently experiencing.
So, what are the core principles of effective development coaching?
Yeah, the core principles are three words: intentionality, clarity, and purpose. And by the time the process is over, we help people to discover all these three virtual assets within themselves. And then again, as I said before, they decide how they're going to go forward, realizing that they had the ability all along, but did not know how to address it, did not know how to unearth it and bring it to the fore, and now use it as part of their strength, virtual inner strength, to make better decisions for their lives going forward.
What skills are essential for a successful life coach?
I love that question as well, Daniel. There are three things that a successful life coach must have. First of all, they must be a great listener. Absolutely listen. And this listening is not just audio sound, but it's a skill of listening with that level of observation, body language, shoulders slumping, pupils diluting, jaws slackening or tightening, person is sitting up or slumping, things like that. Also, the tone of voice. You listen to the flow of what they're saying because you now have to discover what their specific problem is, challenge is, and then lead them in the direction in which they need to go to discover the solutions that obviously lies within. Secondly, the other skill that is absolutely necessary is the skill of remaining silent and being present. So, you as the coach have to block out all the distractions. There must not be any bias, prejudgment, or assumptions. You simply listen with the intent to fully engage in what is happening with your coaching partner. I don't call my clients clients, I call them coaching partners. The third thing that he or she needs to do is to lead their coaching partner to a place of discovery. And you do that two ways. One, by asking the power questions that would guide them to that place, or two, by asking them to unearth and face the deep, dark challenges that they are currently facing.
Very well said. Mr. Andy, very well said. So, how can life coaching help individuals set and achieve their personal goals?
Yeah. Okay, so one of the main things that life coaching does is that it helps people to define what their specific goal is. And let me give you an example. Someone may come to me and they may say, I'm having a challenge with my career. I am a school teacher. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but there seems to be something missing. Every day I go to school, I teach, I study, but I'm looking for that fulfillment based on my personal values, and it's not happening. Life coaching helps them to define whether they truly want to continue being a teacher or whether there's something else that they need to do to bring that level of fulfillment. Because the key thing in helping them to discover the reality of what their true purpose is aligning their values with what they do and creating that level of fulfillment. He may love or she may love to teach, but if it does not bring fulfillment, then at the end of the day, something is always going to be missing. So we help them define whether that is what they really want to do or not. And if the decision then is made by them based on the guidance that you give, as I said before, we don't advise or we don't tell or there's no therapy. We just simply bring all the things that you have not thought about to the surface. And so you see everything now in a different light, in a new picture, and you decide whether you want to change your story or stick with the old story. But now, if you're sticking with the old story, you're going to be a whole lot more consistent and realize that maybe one or two things are missing that you need to adjust to make the difference so that you align yourself with your original story. And if it becomes necessary to make a change, we lead you to a path where you see how that change can become sustainable. But you personally must decide that because you are the one that's going to become the subject and the agent of that change. And now you have to learn to live with your new skeleton.
Yes, totally agree, Mr. Andy. So, what are the key steps in a typical coaching session?
Right. So, first of all, let's do a discovery. The key step number one, let's do a discovery. Why are you here? Is it because of an unresolved issue in the past? Is it because of a current situation in which you cannot seem to wrap your head around it or wrap yourself around it? Or is it something that you foresee or think you foresee in the future? And now I'm alluding to a level of anxiety that many people have. It's unfounded because the future is not here as yet, but because of past situations being unresolved or current situations being where they are unable to properly manage themselves and their emotions, everything becomes challenging. So the first step is let's discover what your challenge is. The second step is where is it coming from? Meaning, when did it start? So we are not looking at the symptom, we are looking at the cause. Did it begin 7 years ago? Did it begin when you were a child growing up and you never got closure? And therefore, it remains something that's traumatic and it's creating limiting beliefs for you? We address that. The third step is to discover what you have within you as an individual that can help you make a decision to overcome what we have now discovered as the source of the challenge. And on many occasions, Daniel, it simply means confronting the challenge, confronting the problem, and allowing the process now of going through it and understanding its effects, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, how you manage it, and now how you're going to overcome it and come out of it and deal with it from a place of strength rather than a place of weakness. So your level of competence rises as a result, and you become better in terms of your ability to manage yourself and to take more control of your life going forward.
Definitely. Very well said. I like it the way you
Thank you.
said. So, how do coaches identify and address limiting belief in clients?
Okay. So there are two ways in which that can happen. I dread to use this term, Daniel, but sometimes the imposter syndrome is something that crops up quite early. And it is quite recognizable because when you listen to the individual speak, you realize that they feel as though all the efforts that they are putting out there are not being truly appreciated. And even though they may have succeeded in something or some things, there still is a disconnect between the level of success that they would have achieved and themselves. So, what we do is we help them to bridge the gap between the success and themselves, but learn also when to separate the two. What I mean by that is simply this. Let's say, for example, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is arguably one of the greatest golfers of all times. But would you say that Tiger Woods is also one of the greatest human beings that you have ever met? I guess that's open for opinion. Why do we ask that? Well, simply because of the fact that the reality of him being so successful in golf may not necessarily transfer itself into other aspects of his life. So, what we do is we help the people to make that connection and realize why I am doing what I'm doing is because I desire a certain level of success. But at the end of the day, they cannot afford to let what they do define them. They have to define themselves before. So, what the limiting beliefs does, it helps them to hide behind their success, while the true person is being choked and kept far and apart from the reality of what's happening. And when all of that has been removed and the bright lights are gone, this person could end up in a place where they are depressed, unfulfilled, and lonely. So I recognize these things based on what they say, based on the emotions that they share, and how they express that level of disconnect, trying to catch up with the success, but never being able to do so because that's not reality. It just does not work that way.
Yes, for sure. So, what role does accountability play in life and development coaching?
I would say, Daniel, probably about 75%. And the other 25% is acceptance. And I'll tell you why accountability is so huge. One of the things that happens sometimes with a client is when we have gone through a period of work, and I say work not lightly because it requires work, it requires deep commitment and a level of understanding. This is what I need to do in order to get here, when that is clearly defined. When the work is finished, one of the key things that matters is the people that you surround yourself with and your ability to now remain consistent. My personal motto is be consistent enough by having good habits every day, 1% at a time. Don't try to
Okay.
do too many big things, step by step, simple steps. And that is important because the accountability that you're going to have is something that you should, one, journal, two, find a mentor, three, if you can't find a mentor, keep your coach on for a longer period of time. Or four, find a community of people with like beliefs, like desires that you can share and you can help and they can help. And they all come together on the same page, seeking the same kind of support to get to a particular place. That level of accountability is extremely important. Sometimes we help a client, they come out of a certain community, and then when they feel that they are competent, they go back into the community, not realizing that there's a default position within their subconscious that is waiting for the opportunity to go back there. Accountability requires that you make some changes and you put systems in place to ensure that those changes remain constant, because now you need to be consistent with the good habits and practices that are necessary for you to continue being successful. So, like I said before, journaling, a mentor, a coach, a community. You can't go wrong.
For sure. So, how does coaches use visualization techniques to inspire growth?
Could you repeat the question, Lucas?
How do coaches use visualization techniques to inspire growth?
All right. Visualization techniques, unfortunately, Daniel, does not work with everybody. That's the first thing that I need to tell you in response to the question. So, another challenge of the coach is to find out where people cognitive skills are with regards to them retaining information. For some people it's visual, for some people it's audio, for some people it's a combination of the two, for some people it's conditions. However, if someone is aligned due to visualization, to getting information that is necessary for them to develop and become empowered. Recognizing this as a coach, you have to make full use of those techniques, because it means then that this is the means by which they will become much more aligned to their values, to their strengths, and gain those necessary new muscles that would help them to make better decisions about their lives, find their intentionality, find their clarity, and embrace their purpose. What it does, it creates the opportunity for them to realize that what they're seeking to accomplish is possible, because they are in a position where they can actually visualize it and see it in real time. And once they resonate with that and it becomes a reality for them, then the path is set for another level, another step to be taken with regards to them gaining the possession of their inner strengths. So it plays a tremendous part in terms of that level of development and empowerment for the people that we work with.
So, Mr. Andy, to sum up our discussion about coaching, how can a coach help clients develop emotional intelligence?
Oh, yeah. I love that. Emotional intelligence, Daniel, is something that is controlled by your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. So let me deal with the scientific aspect of it first of all. Many of us have neural pathways where we are so accustomed to doing things that we are attached emotionally to doing those things. And unless those things do not take place or they don't happen, we can't function. That is an emotional attachment that can become something that we are so aligned to that it takes the opportunity away from us to truly define ourselves and become real. When fear is upon us and we are threatened, the sympathetic nervous system through the amygdala gives us a warning. It tells us danger. Our levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, rises to a certain point. Either we fight, we freeze, or we fly. If the vagus nerve, which controls the opposite of that, brings us to a place of calm and gives proper attention to every organ within our system. Because when the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, it brings the reality of what is happening back to us so that we can truly figure out whether we are actually in danger or not. And the more we have control of that system, is the more we have control of our emotions. That's part one. Part two, when we can define that emotions are developed from two places: one, within, based on our thoughts, and two, from without, based on external circumstances. And I can show you and help you to make wise choices with regards to how you manage your thoughts, because your thoughts are your thoughts. And secondly, how you manage your environment, the ecosystems that exist around you. I give you the opportunity to manage yourself emotionally, and therefore, your level of emotional intelligence takes another step to a place where you can better become the kind of individual that will control your emotions based on your ability to better manage your thoughts and to recognize where true danger exists outside of your normal sphere or your normal space with regards to the ecosystems that exist around you.
Mr. Andy Charles, thank you again for sharing your knowledge with the world and, of course, your podcast. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books and,
Yeah.
of course, your podcast?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, we just recently published Bounce Back from Dreams to Reality, and that's part two, Faith Over Fear. And you can get that at Amazon. Just punch in Bounce Back 2 from Dreams to Reality. I'm one of the co-authors there, and we hit number one best-selling on Amazon. You can also
Congratulations.
get another copy of my publication, hard copy or otherwise, and it's called To Lose a Dream. And you can also get that on my profile, Andy Charles at Amazon.com, author section. You can get three ebooks that I have: Lost in Transition. The other one is Three Steps to Self Fulfillment. And the other one is dealing with Stick Out in a Crowd, The Awakening. My podcasts are The Breakout Room, Let's Just Read, and Breaking Out of Depression. And you can get all this information at www.andyspersonaldevelopment.com.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Andy Charles from Books to Podcast, because if you support him, more books to come, more episodes to come. So, Mr. Andy, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate it.
More to come, people. See you soon. So, Mr. Andy, I'm inviting you next year to be